to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.
Welcome, guys, to the Gulf Coast Music Podcast. My name is Q Steezy, and today's new wave is Eric Erdman.
Yeah, man, glad to be here.
It's fantastic to have you. Eric booked a podcast through the calendar invite, and I foolishly didn't check the calendar, and I felt like maybe the energy was off in the beginning, and yet you still played an insanely good song just now.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Are there times during your music career where you've had like just a tough atmosphere in a location and you still persevered? And
Oh man, that's half the gig. If you're not willing to, fight through the bad ones, you don't ever get the good ones. As far as my experience, so the deal is like if most of the gig, of course, you got to know your chops. You got to know you got to know how to play. You got to know how to write. You got to do all your things. But that's just half the battle.
exactly,
It's not there. That doesn't mean all the gigs are going to be good.
yeah,
It just means you got to figure out how to roll with the punches and make the bad ones good.
yeah,
And
absolutely,
appreciate the good ones.
absolutely. Where's your favorite spot to perform at?
Oh man, that's too hard. That's all I've done for 30 plus years. So
You've been performing for 30 years?
Yeah, I've been in Tokyo and Australia and Afghanistan and everywhere there is to play. So I really like a lot of Australia's great, Belgium's great.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great places in America too that's fun to play.
Absolutely.
I was just in Belize like 2 weeks ago. That was cool.
How do you typically book your tours?
A bunch of different ways. I mean, I have a manager and a booking agent, all that stuff. But over the years, I have had them. I haven't had them.
Right.
It's just.
Have you always had one manager?
No. I was in a band called The Ugly Stick. We were around for about almost 15 years,
right.
maybe 13, 14 years, and we had a few different managers over time. And then I've been basically solo for now, I don't even know how many years, but I was doing it with no manager, just managing my own career for a long time, and then I've had a manager now for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
At what point did you flip the switch and you were just like, I need a manager?
Yeah, it starts to get a lot to handle. So it's like it's not really about. It's always, of course, good to have somebody that champions you and put your name out there and promotes you.
Right.
But it's more about I've got too many calls coming in to line them all up. So it's like
Too many calendar invites.
Exactly. You need a manager.
I know, man. Right now it's Christian back there.
Hey, that sounds like a good manager to me.
I need to start paying him more. I think we got some discrepancies. But yeah, man, it's definitely a lot. And what's I know it's tough to speak for your manager, and but when it comes to like booking a tour in Tokyo, what's that process like?
Well, again, I don't think everybody that is in the music industry like goes into it with the same concept. I've always just loved every part of it. I've loved producing, I love mixing and writing and playing guitar and singing and playing bass and playing whatever. Yeah. Whatever the gig was, I just wanted to be near it and do it. And when you have that, that's all I can speak to because that's how my experience has been. But when you do that, then you're just out there in the world, and when somebody needs a bass player, they go, hey, can you play? But they know you can do it, and so you get more invites to more things.
Right.
And then you just, you go to, some are good, like we said, some are bad. But the good ones not only pay dividends, but probably you'll get a call back and go, hey, well, you played bass on this thing. Well, you want to play bass on this thing? I'm like, yeah, I'm not a bass player, but yes, I want to go to Tokyo, so I go play bass in Tokyo. If that's what it is.
That's awesome, man.
And like I said, some people, phenomenal singers, and that's all they want to do, and that's all they should do if that's their passion. Right. So I'm not saying like just because I like to do all the things somebody else will, but since I do like all the aspects of making music, I could just say yes and then figure out how to make it work. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like how in pop culture, there's like, oh, you're one step away from this person, because you met this person or whatever. It's like you're one step away from New Zealand because you went to Germany.
It really is. Like most of the craziest tours and things I've been on, it wasn't because we just called somebody and said, hey, put me on this tour. It was because I did a gig, like I said, I played bass with this thing, or I played guitar for this person as just a backup guitar player.
Right.
But their manager knew the other person that was looking for that thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like your resume or whatever is getting bigger and bigger all the time until then you do get the calls just because you're kind of in the public consciousness. So it's like this guy can write or sing or play guitar or do that.
Yeah, I definitely want to tap into your career. But when it came to getting started, was guitar the first instrument you picked up?
Yeah, well, I mean, like in elementary school, I played violin, but for a couple of years. But I mean, I couldn't squawk out, and I mean, maybe I could make 3 notes on it right now. Like I'm not a violin player.
Violin's pretty, man.
It is pretty. It's beautiful. I love to hear people who are good at it. I am not one of those. But about 12 years old, I guess I started playing guitar. My older brother played, and he showed me some stuff, and then I was just out playing. So by the time I was 15, 16, I was out playing gigs and stuff.
I tried to pick up the guitar at 12, but I think I was just too soft, man. It was like pressing my fingers in.
It hurts. It hurt like a little bit.
You gotta love it, man.
But it is. There's a balance. If you can get it sounding halfway decent,
it changes everything.
Then it's like you're like, well, that sounds so good. I'm just gonna make my fingers bleed. And then it like it's not really that long until like I can drive nails with this, and you don't even. It didn't hurt at all.
Blood, sweat, and eighth notes.
That's right. That should be another podcast.
Right. No, that's awesome. So then, how'd you get? Let's say, do you remember your first concert or performance?
I had like a band. We played at a house, a house concert. Somebody's thing. But our first like real gig in a real music venue was on Dolphin Street.
Nice.
And our bass player's dad was the door guy, so he got us like a gig probably for free, if I remember, like just playing on like a Wednesday night or something. Yeah. And it was like, I might as well be playing Madison Square Garden or something.
You were
it was like
nervous,
the greatest thing. Oh yeah, it was the greatest thing of all time. Nice. And then anyway, the bar liked us and said, "Hey, you want to play here once every month or something?" And then it just kind of snowballed from that.
Absolutely. And that's the first drop of love, Yeah. Let's see. Where would you say you're at now with music?
I mean, I feel very fortunate, but again, I've been hacking at it for 30 plus years, so it's been a while. It's been a minute, and so now I'm living my dream, really. And I hate to be cliche or whatever, but it's kind of true. Like it's not that I'm not saying I don't have goals or have like I want the songs to get out to more people, but I'm doing stuff I never imagined that I'd be able to. So like I'm also trying to be grateful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
what's your schedule typically like?
So I play again all over the world all the time.
Right.
Like I leave tomorrow. I'll play in Houston all this weekend. Oh, and then I come back and I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida, and then I'll be in Isla Mujeres, Mexico.
Isla Mujeres?
Yeah.
Isla Mujeres, my parents went before it was kind of gringofied.
Yeah.
And it was just like dirt roads like 20 years ago. And that's like, it sounds really pretentious, and it is. That's like my second home. We would go there every summer.
I go there I've been playing there every year for about a decade.
It's so just
the
water's great.
I know every inch of that place. So if you
man.
Soggy Pesos margaritas,
Amigos breakfast.
Amigos.
Come on.
Yep.
Man, it's been a minute since I've been there, but
there's so much. I know that's like that might be my favorite place.
Do you prefer the south side or the north side of the island?
I like it. I love it all. I mean, it's cool to go to Hidalgo and see all the hub, but I like to run down the other end and go like to the joint.
Yeah,
or go
joint.
to, or
the Rastafari spot.
Yeah, or go to. There's a lot of cool little places down that end too.
Let's see. Oh yeah, the basketball court. You ever go there at night?
I've seen some cool games at that.
Yeah, some great desserts. Just walking up and down that strip.
You ever had a Marquesita?
No, I haven't.
Right there at the end of Hidalgo Street, they fry them on there like little. It basically is like a cannoli.
Yeah,
but it is. They put Nutella and cheese.
Oh, yeah, they love that Nutella.
Which sounds horrible. Like when they told me that, I was like, that sounds disgusting. But then I ate one and I was like,
over with.
Okay. So now every time I'm like, let me get one of them.
You ever go ziplining?
We did that one time.
Yeah, I've never done it, but I remember they have that.
That one looks, it's really cool. Like the view is great, but it's like 20 seconds. You're like,
what about the church across the street from Mango Cafe?
Let me see. Oh yeah, yep,
That thing's pretty.
yep. We were there. I don't even know what the celebration is, but one time they were doing like a parade.
Hey, you just
thing.
had
I was
to.
just joined in with them, whatever.
You ever catch a baseball game?
No.
It's like across the street from that
Oh,
supermarket.
I know. Yeah, the Chedraui.
Yeah. Man, yeah, we gotta chop that. We gotta chop
Yeah.
it up about Isla at some point. I'll get you connected with my parents. And
Yeah, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
I go up there all the time.
have you ever you play over there?
All the time.
Oh my God,
That's what I'm saying. In
yeah.
May, I got another concert in May.
Yeah, you're living the dream.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you live the dream, man. That's terrific. Yeah, and looking back, I mean, surely you imagine something similar to this is like the dream, you know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it changes. You don't really know what to dream when you're,
Right. You just love
younger.
the guitar.
But then it's like this is the real dream that
Yeah, man. Huncho Fest, the South's fastest growing recurring event, a music festival highlighting independent artists from all over the country. Any artists that want to sign up and perform, all you have to do is DM NMBGJAY on Instagram and he'll negotiate a slot for you. Tickets will be $10 at the door, and there will be a giveaway which includes a Gulf Coast music interview or a free performance at an upcoming event, all sponsored. Let's see. Did you ever work any other jobs along the way?
I never did. When I was in high school, I worked at a vet for like 2 years.
Right.
But other than that, it's just been music the whole time.
Do you have a family?
I don't. I mean, I have a like brother and mom,
Sure.
but I don't have a wife and kids. So it's
Gotcha,
just,
gotcha.
I've been on the road the whole time. So
Hey, man, take
Makes it
life to
tough.
Isla, man.
other people do. I mean,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. What about, were there any points where you're like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this?
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's all sunshine and roses. Like it gets rough at times. It has been rough at times.
Right.
Again, I can't say just because it was for me, it was somebody else to make it through.
Right.
But I always felt like, again, being diversified because I could produce or mix or write or play or
Right.
sing. That if this gig was not paying the rent and this one would,
Mhm.
and go just do music the
Right.
whole time, probably helped me as opposed to being a one-trick pony.
Right. You had a plan G.
Right. But even though, like, I never was worried. Like, even though times got lean and it was hard, and there were
Right.
times where I was in Nashville, I had to sleep in my car. You know
Really?
what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I had $300, and I was like, man, I can get a hotel room, but I really don't need to spend
Yeah.
half of the money I own in this world for a
Right.
hotel room.
And then
So
crack the window.
crack the window and go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like music's rough, so that might happen for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I can't just say guarantee there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. But
Right.
for me, there was.
Hey, Chris, can you pass my phone? Thank you.
So yeah,
Yeah.
if
Thank you.
if it happens for someone else, like it happened for me,
Absolutely. What would be some advice to an up and coming artist?
my advice for an up and coming artist, mainly like you have to spend time perfecting your craft and getting good at what you're going to be presenting to the world. But then it's also just perseverance, I think. And like, it's not sit on the couch and wait for the great record
Right.
deal to come down the pipe.
Post
You got
a
to
couple TikToks and
must be present to win. You got to
Yeah.
get out and
yeah.
do it. And I don't mean in like a fake way. I mean authentically do what you love.
Did you ever pass out flyers and
Oh yeah, we did. I did every kind of promotional thing.
that's
you
music
do.
cold calling, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point did you start making your own music?
That was pretty early on. Like I started writing songs with my older brother when I was like 8.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to mean every single gig I've done has been 100% original.
Right.
So, like the bands when I started around high school and college,
Yeah.
we always had originals from the get-go, but, we'd be playing bars, so we'd be playing 80% covers and mixing our originals in.
Mm-hmm.
But quickly as we could, we started switching that percentage to being that
Nice.
more original. And so most of my career has just been 100% of me playing
Yeah.
songs I wrote.
Now, when it comes to producing and engineering, how'd you learn that?
Just from doing it. Like when I would go in to record,
Right.
I'd be amazed by it. Like, hey, what's that do? How are you doing that? And
Yeah.
And then, you can learn anything on the internet. So like
Mhm.
I'd get interested in it by on the job experience, if you will.
Yeah.
and then go like, I don't understand what this is and that is, and just go read books and look on YouTube or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. And then you just do it.
What was the toughest part of producing or engineering? Like compression still bothers me.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's a compression is a tricky thing, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You just gotta. It's really the most important thing of any of it. Playing, singing, whatever. It's like use these. I mean, it's music. It's in here. I don't care what the knob says.
Right.
I mean, I know what the knob does.
Sure.
But people go, I can't turn that any louder because it's not supposed to be that loud. I'm like, what does it sound like?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it doesn't sound loud enough, turn the knob up. Or
Absolutely.
For example, same thing with compression or whatever. It's like, do you hear it compressing that?
Right.
I don't care what the settings are. I mean, you need to know what the settings are.
Yeah.
And go, turn the ratio down. Well, but I shouldn't do that. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
If it's not doing what you want, put more on it or put less on it. Like this. A lot of times people visually mess with music.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I'm a culprit of that for sure, man.
But at some point, you got to be like, stop looking at it and go, what does it sound like?
Yeah.
And it's like there's still are too much highs on the vocals. Just keep turning it down. I don't care if the EQ curve looks like this,
right.
which is weird. But in this room, if it sounds like that, you need less highs on it. So just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's great advice, man. Let's see. There was something. Oh, do you have a studio right now?
I do. I have a studio kind of down off of DIP, kind of Navco area.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It's not an in-house studio.
It's at my house, but actually what's interesting is I have the same purple Oralex foam at my house.
Nice. Gets the job done.
So, but it reminds me of my house home studio. But yeah, I just have a small studio. If I do anything bigger than that,
right,
I would go to Dolphin Street Sound, or do it in Nashville.
I was there yesterday, actually.
Dolphin Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're great. Now.
Yeah, Josh was great, and then there was another guy there, Devin, intern. But are you going tomorrow to the Song for Song music? It's like this guy named Dre. He kind of combines all genres and does kind of a song competition.
Oh, that's really cool. Sounds interesting. I can't do tomorrow. I'm going to Texas
I know you're busy,
for my
man.
gig.
Yeah, Houston,
but if I was here, I would go to it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like they bring in all these artists, and over this weekend, starting tomorrow up until Sunday, it's like tomorrow there's like a meet and greet. So I'm just gonna pass out business cards, and yeah, it'll be fun. What are your future plans?
I'm just gigging a lot and continuing to write. It's a good time for me because I've had recent success, and so more people are coming to me to write for their albums and things like that.
Can you speak on that?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of people. My friend Charlie Argo just put a great album out. My friend Lauren Spring put some of her songs out. The Red Clay Strays, I've written with them, since they've been a band, and they put one of our songs they put on their last studio album and the Live from the Ryman album that just came out. And we wrote a different song for the Twisters movie, and that got nominated for a Grammy.
Right.
Just right there. I mean, we lost, but we were nominated.
That's terrific. What's it like writing a song that gets nominated for the Grammys?
It was pretty. I mean, it's cool. Obviously, that's another one of those things where I never imagined, being a dude from DIP and Mobile, that I'd have a song up for, on a album that's up for a Grammy. But I don't know. Like, to me, that's definitely cool and definitely something that makes me feel good and feel like my work's happening. But it's like, that's really not. That's what I said. Like, as a younger person, that might have been like, this is what success is. It's like, as I've gotten older, it's like, that's not really success. Is it great? Yes, and it's definitely a pat on the back and saying good job.
Right.
But it's like having people that I respect want to write songs and record them.
Right.
I don't care if you're getting 12 Grammys or you're not getting 12 Grammys.
Right.
Because there are plenty of people that I absolutely respect that will never get a Grammy.
Yeah.
And that's an honor to be on their album. I don't care if it makes me $12. Now, it feels good that some of the other bigger, people also are doing it. Yeah. I'm not trying to be like, money doesn't matter.
Something's got to keep the lights on.
Right. Something's got to keep the lights on. But it's not really the main goal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was when I was 16 or something, because I didn't know any better or whatever. But,
sure.
So when I say I feel successful now, it's because I'm getting to do those. I'm getting to make music at a high level with people I consider to be masters.
Man, yeah. Having those connections means the world.
So
right?
money's coming. That's cool.
Yeah.
But that ain't why. That's not the success part.
That's awesome.
That's extra.
Do you ever feel like you mentioned going out to Dolphin Street sound, but do you ever kind of feel trapped in your house often because you're making music in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, I do. What's funny is I tend to, every time I do an album or a project for me, I always benefit from having somebody else co-produce it with me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not because I can't hear what's going on, but when it's my performance,
right.
I really needed somebody to say stop,
Yeah.
because I'll just sit there and recut it 1,000,000 times because I'm just being a perfectionist. But when somebody else is playing, they might have mistakes in there, but I hear that as magic because
Yeah.
magic a lot of times has mistakes in it. It's not about being perfect. That's what a computer can do.
I'm really glad that you addressed that because I can relate to that, and I know a lot of people can too. When you're on that outside looking in, it's awesome. But when you're there, it's like you have too much anxiety and
Yeah, it's like
pressure.
personal. There's something. Yeah, it's just like I want to keep doing it. And what's bad is as a producer, there's plenty of times where a phenomenal musician is playing.
Yeah.
And they think they need to keep recutting it, but they got it right on take 4, and they're trying to do take 14.
How do you
it keeps
express
getting
that?
less and less and less and less every time they try it.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to visually hear it on myself when I can hear it on everybody else and go like, no, we already got that take.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing, I'm like, well, it was a little bad. I think I could do it more perfect. And it's like, no, you can't.
And then you get tired and
yeah, it's like you start drifting, and you need somebody that you trust.
Right.
To go.
How do you broach that subject in the studio when somebody's kind of faltering like that?
Just tell them, because that's a good thing to hear. They're like, I think I can do it better, and you be like, no, you can't. You just killed it on the last. Like, what I mean, we have we have everything we need.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of like producing and recording music, as weird as it sounds. It definitely is the technique and the tone and all that you're going to bring in there. But like, there's so many people that can do that. The bigger issue is like human psychology, and that sounds so strange and weird, but that's why every recording studio, they won't have white lights on. They'll have like little dim weird lights and have candles burning.
Right.
Like, what kind of seance am I going into? Like, what are we doing? But it's because they're trying to get everybody like in the mood for the thing, right? And then you get in there,
Light
and
a candle.
It's a lot about the producers are really just trying to get everybody in a good headspace, because everybody can play, like everybody can sing, everybody's great.
Right.
It's about getting the performance, and a performance is about how they're feeling at the time. I can't control that with knobs.
Right.
If you're nervous and sound like garbage,
the producer starts doing Jamie Foxx impersonations to get people riled up.
Yes, whatever it takes. But like, if people start flowing and getting in and that's what you have to hear as a producer, whether you say that to the band or the artist or not, is when it's cooking, like when it's going, or when it starts to when it starts to tail off, you got to do something else or switch songs.
That's where the Rick Rubins of the world come
right.
in. Yeah,
he's the best ever, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion, but
yeah,
I don't know anybody better.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, he obviously knows his way around a traditional producing setup, but like, he's known for not being a producer and being kind of like a psychological producer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's really the battle. There's a lot of people that could just engineer a session and be like, I can make this guitar sound good through that microphone.
He's like Alcohol Man.
But like, what are you going to put into the guitar that goes through that microphone?
Right.
That's psychology. That's not sound waves.
Yeah.
So then you need Rick Rubin. You don't need the other guy.
Right.
Or whoever it is.
It's like a spirit, a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the audience what it's like, because everybody wants to know what it's like to songwrite with the Red Clay Strays.
Oh, well, I'm actually the first person they ever co-wrote with. So that was like, I'm the first person, like, because I've known them forever. Like, I actually knew them before they were the Red Clay Strays.
Right.
And so they were like, will you write with me? Well, Drew, mainly, I was writing with him first. And then I've written with all of them at one point or other. But they're just great. I mean, they're great people. As we all know now, they're all, rock stars and killing it. But they've been the same great.
Sure.
That's kind of back to that thing where I was saying about the industry as a whole. It's like, they didn't change. Like, they didn't change. They were sounding great.
Yeah.
8 years ago when I saw them play, and you know what I mean. But it's like, thank goodness the industry got it right and recognized greatness.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of times they don't.
Right.
But I couldn't be more happy. And like I said, now, good on them also, because everybody wants to write with Rick. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a writer alive that wouldn't try to go write with them because they're the hottest thing in America, or whatever.
Yeah.
And good on them for being stand up, people too, and being like, nah, you wrote with us when we were, playing to 8 people in the garage.
Yeah.
And we
What a
get
feeling.
good stuff from writing with you. So
Yeah.
we're gonna keep writing with you. So like, we've written a bunch of songs. Hopefully 1 or 2 of them gets on the next album. Who knows if they do or not? Because now they got a lot of songs to sift through.
Yeah.
But if I never get another cut with them or not, it doesn't. I mean, I'm equally as proud of them and equally want them to,
What a feeling,
keep slaying it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna write. We write regularly, so I feel like we're still fishing. So we'll get
That's
one
great, man.
eventually.
That's a great spot to be in, man. I love stories like this. What are some early experiences in your performing career where it's like 8 people in a garage,
Oh man,
or
I've played many.
bare minimum,
I've all right. This is a funny story. I have a gig with the fewest people that the best anybody could ever do is just tie me. You can never beat me. And here's what happened. I was in town and my buddy had a gig in Biloxi at one of the casinos.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey man, I can't make it. Can you go down there and play?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." So I drove down to Biloxi. I went in the casino and I went in the bar and just went to set up. And the manager, bartender, whatever, was like, "Man, we're so sorry. The music series was supposed to end last week
Oh shit, man.
and not this week." And I'm like, "That's all good." And they're like, no, like we're gonna pay, like we know we agreed to it. We just messed up and
Right.
had it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, all right. So do you want me to play or you don't want me to play? Like either way is fine." They're like, no, we'll play because we're gonna pay you, but we can't pay you unless you play. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And they go, "But here's the deal. We ended the music series because there's another series that's in the bar down the hall, and they're giving away a car or a truck or something." And they're like, so like everybody's gonna be in there and it's gonna be dead. And I'm like, that's fine, whatever. I've played dead gigs before. So they're like, "But you have to play or we can't play." So like I'm in the casino, there's all the cameras around. So I know somebody somewhere is watching, making sure that I'm earning my money. So I'm just sitting in the corner playing, and there's just, a bartender, and then 2 bartenders, and I'm playing. And after a while, they leave. So
Solitary
I'm just
confinement.
sitting in a room, literally sitting in a room by myself with the instrument playing
It's
for
me
like an
in the
hour. Like,
corner.
so I'm just like playing scales, writing songs, like doing whatever. But I have to sit on stage and play to 0 people. But hey, I got paid and went home. But the worst, you can't get less than 0. So like the best anybody can do is tie me on
There you go.
least amount of people at a gig.
That's a great story. Well, when in Biloxi.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
remember what casino that was, but it was one of them down there.
Yeah. What part of Alabama are you from? You from
I'm
Mobile?
from here, yeah, DIP.
Gotcha. Oh, DIP. What is DIP?
Dolphin Island Parkway.
Gotcha. I
So,
know that. Yeah.
Basically where 65 hits I-10.
Right. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. We actually, I tried to initially with this Gulf Coast music was set up like 2 fishing poles and hang a microphone in between.
Cool.
And I was at Dolphin Island, but that was too far of a drive, so we went to Dolphin Island Parkway and got some pretty cool shots over there.
That's where I'm from. You were in
Yeah.
my neighborhood.
There you go. You remind me of a friend that I'm still friends with. He's getting married soon, but he was at Spring Hill my freshman year. His name's Will Diggs, and he's from northern part of Alabama, but he's just got a similar accent and similar kind of joyfulness about anything, it seems. And it's really respectable.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope I'm joyful about things. I try to be.
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of a Mobile thing, or is it an Alabama thing, or?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I love it down here. I mean, I'm very proud to be from Mobile, and I love the music, I love the food, I love the kind of culture down here. I also love it that people outside of Alabama don't expect us to have any of that. They're like, we're gonna come in here and it's just gonna be this boring cotton field, and everybody's racist, and you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they come down, they're like, wait,
what the fuck?
there's
is
actually
Mobile?
art and culture,
Yeah.
and like everybody like we don't care, like everybody's cool with you, and you're
Right.
not every, but you know what I mean. It's not what it's expected.
Mobile's a surprise, man.
And then
Dolphin Street is a surprise.
I love that being a shock to people. And be like, yeah, man, we're not all a bunch of backwards,
Mhm.
rednecks. I mean,
Rednecks,
there
right.
are. I can point you in the direction of a few of them, but that's
Right.
not the bulk of it. It's like, don't judge the rest of us off of them,
Yeah. Before this podcast, you mentioned, as we were just talking, that a Jason Isbell connection.
Yeah.
And through the, I'm forgetting it. Is it, what's the band?
So my band was the Ugly Stick.
Ugly Stick.
We moved to Muscle Shoals and
Right.
wrote for Fame recording studios in Muscle Shoals for 10 years, and that is the label that Jason Isbell
Right.
wrote on all the time. So during that time was when he was in the Truckers. So that our band used to open for the Truckers and hang out with them all the time. And then Jason, got out of that band. He was still on the same publishing company with us, and then he started building a band and building up what ended up becoming Sirens of the Ditch, his first solo thing.
Yeah.
Well, while that band, the bass player was our bass player. So our Jimbo Hart, which played in the Ugly Stick, which was based here in Mobile, we toured all over the place, and then we would go back to Muscle Shoals, and he would play some gigs with Jason, and then whatever. Anyway, as history has now shown, he was a founding original member of the 400 unit, and that's where all of those albums, Jimbo, who played on Dolphin Street a million times with us,
Right.
He was Jason's bass player for his whole career. Recently, he's gotten out of the band for I'm not sure the reasons, but basically everything
My
you know of.
sweet and it was yeah. Love that song.
But anyway, so yeah, I know all those guys from my Muscle Shoals days, and so just good.
How long were you in Muscle Souls for?
Almost 10 years, basically.
Was it known to be like? I mean, yeah, of course it was known to be historic. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's Aretha Franklin.
It was an interesting time though, because it hit right when we were there, where it's always been known as a mecca of music and soul music specifically. But you got to realize it was exactly the right time where all the kids' generation of the 60s, 70s heyday
Right.
would have all just been becoming like 20, 25, 30 years old. So it was not that nothing went on in the gap, but a whole lot of people came of age at the same time.
Gotcha.
Which would have been the next crop. And so right before they all popped off, you had Gary Nichols and John Paul White was not in the Civil Wars yet, and Ben Tanner and the Alabama Shakes had not done anything yet, and they were all just that's who we wrote with and hung out with, and that was our buddy group at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And then the Civil Wars happen, and they get multiple Grammys. Gary takes Chris Stapleton's place in the Steel Drivers, and so he wins Grammys. Jason Isbell goes from obscurity to this generation's Bruce Springsteen, basically. And the Alabama Shakes are just I remember when the Alabama Shakes, my buddy that worked at the studio all the time, he was in 5 bands up there, but they were all just kind of little bands. They were great, but they just didn't have a large following. I mean, and he goes, "Hey man, we're coming. I think we're able to. Can you talk to the guy? Whatever at Callahan's."
Yeah.
And so I was I called JT, who's the greatest music supporter ever. And I'm like, "Hey, my buddies from Muscle Shoals are coming down to play, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, we already talked. I just talked to them today. We're booked and everything's good." And I was like, "Well, anyway, he's gonna take care of them if he didn't know him from the sky." I don't mean it was anything had to do with me, but I just meant I made the phone call "Hey, take care of my buddies that are just coming down here, to play for $500 or whatever it is at the time." And then it was 6 months later, they're headline playing for Obama. You know what I mean? Biggest. They were the biggest group too. So it was a weird era to be in Muscle Shoals, because now they did the series and they did a movie about it and they did all this stuff, and it's
I see what you mean now.
It's still it's still always got a cool magic to it. I'm not saying that's tarnishing it in any way, but it feels a little bit more tourist. People have found it and they're all trying to go there and get some of that on them.
Yeah.
And when I was there, it was magic and great, but it was kind of just it didn't have all the spotlight on it.
He bought a Gary Nichols rookie card.
Yeah.
And now it's worth millions.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a cool time to be up there, and I made some of my buddies that are up there will be my friends, second family for the rest of my life. So it's cool.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, it was great to have you on. Lastly, I wanted to cover your performances. Like recently, I was just scanning through the Instagram, and it's kind of like a stand up comedy set where you're sitting on the stool, but you got a guitar in your hand.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just not familiar enough. Most likely, I just am not.
Well, yeah, I
cultured
do that a
enough for
lot.
it.
It depends. Like I do a lot of different kinds of gigs too. Some of them are big, like
Right.
festival kind of deals where it's a full band.
Yeah,
But a lot of them, since I'm a songwriter, are either me
Right.
standing there or sitting on a stool,
yeah,
and I'm just telling stories and playing,
Yeah.
or like me and 2 people or 3 other people,
Right.
just telling stories and swapping, and like what you'd hear around a campfire, basically.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But more in a venue, and I have played all kinds of styles of gigs, but as the career has progressed,
right,
that's more what I've trended toward, and that's most of my gigs now, which I love because
Right.
as a fan, I also love that too, hearing the story behind the song,
right.
and
Absolutely.
then hearing the song, and it's kind of bare, stripped down.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at is because you mentioned the humor songs that you've got,
Yeah.
and it just kind of goes well. It seems to have those types of songs.
Well,
in it.
I like to. Sometimes I just write whatever the idea is. Like I like to make that kind of the basic deal. Like
Right.
whatever the cool idea in the room. If we were all going to write something,
Yeah. Well,
if we agree that it's a good idea, don't impose myself on it too hard. Let's see what that's trying to say and just write it, whether that becomes serious or funny. And I've written 1,000 songs probably, and so most of them are heartfelt, sentimental, serious songs.
Right.
But when the idea is just funny,
you just got to go with it.
she used to play hard to get, now she's playing hard to get rid of. I'm like, that's funny. We got to write that. And so
Damn, that's a bar.
so we wrote that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like songs like that, where it's like, that's clearly not going to be a serious song. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's funny, and somebody should write it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we just go with what the song is, I think. But over the year, because of that, I probably
Right.
have 10 or 20 what I would consider to be funny
Right.
songs, whatever.
What's your answer to this question? Do you write or play the instrument first?
I've done both, like pretty equally throughout the time. It
Yeah.
just depends on what artist I'm writing with.
Right.
Sometimes there is a cool musical thing and I don't know what it says, so I try to listen to what it's sounding like. Like, does this feel serious or does this feel more lighthearted or what
Right.
is it? And then figure out what words go with it. But I'd say these days, more times than not, I try to write it and then put music to it,
Mhm.
because I've just gotten really comfortable with music
Right.
as a thing. I don't mean that in any sort of pat myself on the back.
Sure.
I've just gotten more experience and comfortable with it. So it's easier for me to see that and then say, what should it sound like?
Right.
And that part, it's not that it's less important. It's just, it's easier for me to look at the words and go, this feels sad and I need some emphasis on these parts.
Right.
I know how to do that on this instrument. As opposed to being like, I have to force the words to fit on this thing because it sounds like this way.
Gotcha.
It's not wrong that way.
Yeah.
I've just found that it's gotten easier for me to write that way.
To come up with the concept first.
So sometimes somebody goes, what about this groove?
Yeah.
And they
then
start
just-
playing something, I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. And we'll
yeah.
put words to it. But more times than not, I'm like, what are we saying?
Yeah.
And then we'll put music. I mean, and when I say that, even maybe it's a chunk of the song.
Right.
So like, what are we saying? Put the words to that. That's just a chorus.
Right.
So it's not really like write all the words, then write all the music. They're kind of going like this.
Mhm.
But even in that pattern, more times than not, recently, I would write the words and then make it sound like I think the words should sound.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's motivational. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, are you flying or driving?
I'm
to
driving to Houston tomorrow.
Gosh, what time you leaving?
Probably 8 a.m. maybe. Not too bad.
Go get some sleep, brother.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
It was great to have you, Eric.
Glad to be here.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Gulf Coast Music Podcast, and go check out Eric Erdman in Houston, and in Tokyo, and in Isbell, Harris.
Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.